Welcome to the Think and Grow Young podcast, where we uncover the real stories of women in business, how they found their voice, overcame the hard stuff, and built lives around work that truly lights them up. I am excited to share a wonderful guest with you today. My name is Jody Teish. I'm your host, and we'll be talking today with Rebecca Ahmed. Rebecca is with Energetic Impact. That's her company. She is a certified coach and a speaker and known as the Chief Energy Officer. We're going to find out more about that. But without further ado, Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
It is my pleasure. It's so funny because we met through like a business funnel
Yeah,
and hit it off like a house on fire. And so I'm really happy that we're becoming friends. And I think that it's wonderful that you just never know who you're going to meet and what way you're going to meet them, which is why I am so open to having conversations. And it sounds like from what I know of you so far that you are that kind of person too.
absolutely. And you just hit the head on the nail or whatever it's called, but that's
Yes.
energy. It's like that's energy, baby.
Absolutely. Which leads me perfectly into you are known as the Chief Energy Officer. That's like a really refreshing departure from normal corporate titles, right?
Yes.
So, how did that title come about? And what does that mean to you?
Yes, so this title came about. It was during COVID, and I had recently launched my own business, Energetic Impact. And I was specifically hired to be a speaker, internal speaker, for a year with Caesars Entertainment. And
Mm,
they have 55 properties across the world. And because of COVID, most people were in an energetic state of the level 3, which I call the compromise zone. And this zone is all about finding the silver lining, surviving to get by. And in COVID, we were very much in the surviving versus thriving mindset. We didn't know how long it would be. It was like just get through every single day. How can you cherish your loved ones more? How do you kind of take this moment to reflect on what's important to you? But it was coming from this lens of we don't know where this is going.
yeah.
And hospitality, oh, every day. I know organizations across every single sector had this, but I felt for them because you have so many individuals coming to your property that you already have the volume. And then you're getting different information from the federal government, from the state, from the local, from your county. So you're trying to
The
navigate all
eyes are
this,
rolling in the back of the head at this point.
right? And so I'm coming in to energize these leaders. They selected emerging leaders who raised their hand and who vocalize, I want to jump in and I'm ready to create this shift, even though we're going through this challenging time in COVID, but guests are chomping at the bit. We're chomping at the bit. Hospitality's in our heart. And they said, we want something to energize us. So I got to go in and speak to these various properties and leaders, which was so empowering. And it was so cool because most conferences centers were closed. So we had all the space in the world. We could share and we could spread out very, very largely. And I
Yeah.
got to energize them. And that's, they gave me this title actually. I would say in partnership with them because they said, what do we call you? And I said, well, I'm coming in with energy. And I loved like there's chief strategy officer and COO. So I'm with all the executive suites. So they're like, they're like, what are you or your company? And so I'm a CEO and founder. I said, well, chief energy officer will work with CEO. And then we kind of took it from there.
That is great. I love it. So you said that energy is sort of the foundation for success. How do you define energy? Because energy can be one of these sort of nebulous terms. Some people think of it as ready to run around and have the wherewithal to do exercise or just, run around in life. But there are lots of different definitions of energy and nuances. So, how do you define it in the context of personal and professional life?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's something I address in my keynotes, right? We do have
Hmm.
so many definitions. And I say, if I were to ask you all to write down a definition, I'd get a million of them, right? But we
Yeah.
have to look at this through the lens of history. So historically, we knew very little about energy. If you think about it, it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution that we started to really perfect the art and science of energy conversion, which is when electricity occurred and steam engines occurred and our world really changed. And since then, we've discovered even more abundant sources of energy. We have solar, we have nuclear, and it reminds us that
Mm.
energy is not only all around us, but it's also likely free of charge. But what do all of these things have in common? Whether scientists are defining it as the amount of vigor or capacity you bring to a situation. That's how they define it. They have
Okay.
kinetic energy, working energy, potential energy stored. So you have vigor or capacity coming to a situation. That's the same as personal energy.
Mm.
We can use the same principles that scientists use to better understand personal energy.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it can be woo woo, just like you're saying. When someone walks into a room, they're like, oh, I feel this, right? It's a vibe, it's a zeal.
Yes.
But the beautiful thing, and that's why I went to school to better understand energy and understand there are 7 levels of energy. There is a difference between destructive and constructive energy. There are
Mm.
advantages and disadvantages to all 7 levels of energy. You experience energy at all different levels all the time. It's how you're leading with that. How do you make shifts? How do you take off one set of lens and put on a different? I do this example with classes in my keynotes. When you're working with energy and actually quantify it with data, you can see how it impacts you not only personally, but professionally. And my last piece I'll
Absolutely.
add there, Jody, is
Yeah.
if you had a genie and if it asked you now, if you could have anything in the world, the smart answer would be energy. Because energy is a modern day currency. You would have all the money you would possibly want, but you'd also do all the experiences you want to get. Your little check box of all your like your what do they call it? The bucket
Bucket
list items.
list.
Yep,
Yeah.
the bucket list items would be checked. You
Yeah.
would have enough energy to connect with your children, your family, your friends. It's about energy. And when you look at it through the lens of currency
Mm.
and how much wealthier your life can be, energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally. That is the key. And that's why I get so passionate about this work because I want everyone to feel extremely wealthy in all areas of their life, not
I
just.
love that, Rebecca. You and I talked also about um, energy as a frequency.
Mhm.
Right? So when people are happy, it's a higher frequency because we're all made up of energy.
Yep.
Biologically, quantum physics wise, we're all made up of energy.
Mhm.
So when people are happy, it's a higher frequency. When people are down, it's a lower frequency. When you
Yep.
meet negative people, it's a lower frequency. When you meet positive people, it's a higher frequency. And I'm wondering if in your work, this mindset piece of we become what we think about all day, and how to control and shape one's thoughts for success, you found can also elevate personal energy, which connects to professional energy. Have you seen that?
Absolutely. I've seen that with
Mm.
myself. I've seen that with
Yeah.
my clients.
Yeah.
People call it manifestation, and I love that term. But
Mm.
it's you're putting it out there. But remember the definition of energy, the vigor or capacity you put towards something. By putting it out there, that's start one. You're putting energy, you're putting vigor
Towards
or
something.
capacity. I'm saying this is what I want. I am communicating to the universe. I want more of this. I want
Mm.
it like this. When even I work with, let's take work aside, just relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anytime I work with a client, and usually they're coming to me for a career transition. That's usually my Gen Zs. That's who I love to coach, and they're coming for a career transition. And we usually jump into love though, because it somehow gets in there, right?
Yes, of course.
And the first thing I ask are, what are you looking for in a partner? What are your values? Because we do this work on the professional side, and they have it all figured out on the professional side. I'm looking for this from a company. I've got this, and this is what I want. But when I ask them about their personal life, that's where that opportunity comes in, and that's what you're talking about. That
Mm.
frequency.
Mm.
Are you elevated and connecting with people on that level, or are you not?
Yeah.
Destructive energy creates clouds, it creates a lot of vision blocking.
Mm.
And when you're on higher frequencies, this is why people say when they have a bad day, everything's happening to me bad. Why? And also when they're like, it's like, oh my gosh, Rebecca, I got yeses all day long
Yeah,
because they're on that frequency.
that's
Because
exactly
that's the
right.
energy that they're attracting, it's the energy they're putting out there, and
Yes.
it is a full circle of synergy. But if you're
Like
putting out the destruction, you're going to get it.
like attracts like. One of the laws of attraction,
The laws of
the
attraction.
laws of the universe. Yeah, I love that. So, and I want to talk more about your work with young people, but first, you helped lead a 2.8 billion M&A process for over 16,000 employees.
I
How
did.
did that work, and how does your work with energy, how did that impact the flow of what you did with this company?
Yeah, so I was at Pinnacle Entertainment and we
Mhm,
had right around 16,000 employees,
mhm.
17 properties across the US. We sold to Penn and Boyd. I will say first and foremost, our CEO, Anthony Sanfilippo, and our executive team, whether that's Tracy West, Christina Donaldson, I mean, there's so many I can name off. Those are the HR leaders I worked with.
Yeah,
They led through energetic lenses. So
and
our
it made things
CEO's
a lot
number one
easier for
value is
you.
care.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Can you imagine? Most people, when I say lead with love and care, they look at me like,
Well, it's not common in corporate America, is it? So,
that was our CEO's number one value.
yeah.
So the energy, as you can imagine, was super loving and warming through a huge transition. But that tells you because we're hospitality too, and we like to tie bows on things, we like things to be really, really just like, because we're coming from that five-star service, we did the same for our employees. As an internal coach, right? Head of HR with
Mm,
other lead we did interviews or interview practices, mock interviews with everyone who was having to either interview for their job again at this new organization because we were transitioning to Penn and Boyd or they were going for another one. We provide those services for free. We helped them with their resumes for free. We did anything and everything to support every single team member we possibly could
mm.
through the lens of knowing you might not have had to apply for a job for 20 years. Some of these hotels have been around and they have been lifelong leaders, lifelong individuals at these organizations. Tell them that they have to make it, they're freaking out.
Yeah.
So leading through that care and empathy was a huge shift. And we really made sure and we constantly asked, what can we do for you? How can we make you feel more secure?
Mm,
Because it's very easy, and organizations love to do this, myself included. I'm the oldest of 11, so I will let everyone marinate on that. But when you naturally get a challenge, you want to put in an action plan, but sometimes you don't solicit information before you put it in. And a lot of times it's not coming from malintent, you just want to help. But if you don't ask, you don't know what you're really helping. And so we did a lot of asks. We did surveys, we did lunch and learns, we did conversations, we had open doors, we had hotlines, we had everything you could possibly do to give feedback, whether you wanted to provide your name or not.
yeah.
So then we could address every single thing with an action-oriented plan that energized the challenge.
Yeah. And was individualized for that person, right? Because we both know that good coaching is all about active listening and high mileage questions so that
Question,
you can
exactly.
get the information you need to be able to be the best guide possible.
Mhm.
So, yes, and then you can also individualize for that person's needs. So that's amazing. And that the head of the company was, came from this place, the energy bar is high and
Mhm.
that trickles down, right, to everybody else and how things are done. So that's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your book, The Energy of Success. Dives into how we experience and expand our energy. Um, can you share one powerful practice that someone can use today to raise their energy outlook, on life and themselves?
I'm going to share one that I shared earlier since I'm in a mastermind group and some of my colleagues asked the same question.
Mm,
Leading with love and pleasure.
mm,
So the question that came out of the mastermind group was when you are feeling resistant to do something, which we all do, right? Oh, I
mm,
have to do admin work. Oh, I need to do my taxes. Oh, I need to do that. Whatever it is. they're like, how do you, Rebecca, jump into it with such like excitement and energy? Like we see you do it and we know you don't like to do that because you tell us what you like to do and what you don't like to do. And I tell them I lead with pleasure. I bring that in. So if I'm going to have to do administration work in the morning, I have extra whipped cream on my coffee because I'm going to enjoy that coffee like it is no other. I will put music on. A lot of times I do videos in the background of like the travel places I love. I look at it through that lens. If I need to, I love going to restaurants and like that energy really is fueling to me. So if I need to just do like checklist items, I will go to a restaurant, have that energy around me and have a really amazing appetizer and be like, I get to experience this and have a nice glass of wine. And that experience in that hour, I will get the following accomplished.
Yeah.
So I like to marry that, and that
Yeah.
pleasure piece for me works. And if we think about humans and actually animals in general, the reward system really does work for us, right? Like we as humans like to
Dopamine.
go. Yeah, that
Dopamine
dopamine.
button.
Yeah, thank you. Because I feel like we love to go. I mean, the media, everything is all about the negative and like the addiction to that. But like it's just as addicting on the pleasure side, and I highly recommend that route comparatively.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Um, so let's talk a little bit more about young people. Mentoring young people is one of your passions. You shared that with me.
Yeah.
And we both share that.
Mhm.
Talk with me a little bit more about your work with Gen Z and what you've seen in terms of this generation as it relates to the work that you do.
Yes, so I do have such a passion for this generation. They are the new generation coming into the workforce. And let's take a step back because if you look at the workforce right now, it's very unique. We have boomers, we have Gen X, we have millennials, and we have Gen Z.
Mm.
Boomers are primarily the parents of millennials.
Hmm.
Gen X is primarily parents of Gen Z.
Hmm.
Boomers have been running this operation for a very, very long time.
Yes, we have.
And and a volume scale.
Mm.
So when you have a volume of this size exiting the workplace and a volume of Gen Z coming in, and their generational differences are so 4 generations,
Oh, yeah.
that's such a difference. These were born with technology in their hands. This, I mean, so different.
Yes.
And so, what I love about Gen Z and the challenge that many people are facing in the workforce, and I help bridge that gap, is that they're building their own system,
Mm.
to communicate because they started with technology in their hands and they can.
Hmm.
Their own system of efficiencies, their
Hmm.
own system of learning. And because of this, they're quick to make changes. They're not stuck in something it's not takes doesn't take a long time. And that's why I love coaching them. As soon as I share a principle with them, they get curious. They do not trust it because they have access to information, so they will test it first, which I love. They test it a few times, and then when they see it works, they run with it
Mm.
because of the efficiency.
Yes.
They're like, why would I argue? Why would like I've seen it work, let's move forward.
Yeah. I've also noticed with my work with Empower Gen Z, which I'm so happy that you are now connected with
Yes,
because you could add such value to these young people's lives, um, is there is a different bar that these young people have when it comes to who they'll work for, what companies they'll endorse, what companies they'll buy from. It's
absolutely. If it doesn't
important
align with
for
their
them.
values.
No, exactly. Sustainability, how they treat their workforce. All of these things matter very much. And I think it's really interesting because there's the largest generation in history. So they are coming into wielding an incredible amount of financial power. Uh, I think it's interesting to see how business responds. Business is already responding, but how that evolves.
Yes,
Because,
and that
yeah,
evolution is exactly it. Because right now, Jody, we're seeing uncomfortable kinks. We're
mm,
seeing
yeah, 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 yeah,
this is new. We're not all done. We're not done yet. Don't kick us out. Like we're
yeah,
coming in and we got a new way of communicating and leading, and you must honor the values. Like it's very wonky, and it
Yeah.
will work out. It will soothe out like it always does,
Yeah.
but it will be very different. And I love that you called on those values
Yes. Very
because that's
specific
my teams
set.
immediately do that. Like
Mm,
I love it. My some of my clients. Oh, I had one. She was on a final interview
mm.
with the VP of Finance. I told her this is a courtesy interview for your level, entry level. There's no reason this company needs to do this. They're doing it for you. Take advantage of the opportunity to
Mm.
connect with the head of finance. And we had already done everything through the lens of values, through energy. And this was her number one company to work for. It was
Oh,
her number one desired company. We were
yeah.
so excited. Like everything was just perfect all the way through. We get to this interview and she asked the VP of Finance, how do you bring the values to life? This is a nonprofit organization. This is what we do. This is our mission. And they
Right.
said, I'm sorry, we don't even know what our values are. Like, couldn't tell you. And she stopped her and she said, I really appreciate like so much like for your time, like your time. And I understand like I'm entry level and I know you're really busy. And so I want to respect your time. And I will like, I've got what I needed out of this interview and I'm sure you have too. They still had more time.
That
And she
was
said
it
it
for
very
her.
politely. And she was like, and the lady was like, oh, okay. Well, is there anything else? She was like, no. And she called me and she was like, I'm gonna let HR know, like, I really enjoyed them, but like because if their head of finance, the person who has to sign off on the checks,
Oh my
doesn't
goodness.
know how to bring the vision and like values to life, she's like, I'm not working for that company.
Well, and this was her number one choice. So
Number
that
one
just
choice.
demonstrates how deep this goes.
Yep. And
So,
she got an
it's
offer
kind
and
of
she declined.
honorable. Yeah, kind of honorable. Seriously,
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of that in the world today. We probably could use more.
Yeah.
Um, so you have this thing that you call out called Fight on Cheer from USC. What's
Yeah.
that about?
Oh goodness, if you're a crazy Trojan, you know, but you'll see
I'm
us on
not.
TV because we do this for fight on, fight on. It looks like a peace sign, but it's the USC. It's our alma mater sign for football, for everything. It's super like
Okay.
energizing. It's as if you're running around, you're like peace, but you're like fight on, fight on, fight on. Yes, yeah, you'll definitely see that come
It
out of
gets
me.
that energy level up
It
and
definitely gets
going.
that energy level
Yes.
up.
Oh, I love that. Do you use that sometimes in your keynotes or?
You know what? I don't, but maybe that's an idea for one now that I think about it. Because I was like, oh, I actually can bring that little fun finger out from those games.
There you go. There you go. So the theme of this podcast is, it's Think and Grow Young. It's tapping into mostly women's personal power, how they do what they do, their stories, what lights them up. Talk a little bit about what in your personal life, I hear very clearly what lights you up in terms of your work, which I'm sure has a lot of overlap. What lights you up in your personal life?
My love lights me up like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking of him. So, yeah,
Oh,
I've been with my partner now for 5 years. He is a Marine. I usually only get to see him on weekends or when he has time off. We just did our third deployment. Yeah, so this one I actually got to go visit him, which was really nice overseas before I hadn't. So 7 months is a hard time not to see someone.
yes.
But yeah, he energetically lights me up. I laugh with him, I learn with him. And you know what? He is on the cusp of Gen Z and millennial. He's 11 and a half years younger than me.
Oh,
So for
wow.
women
That's
listening out there,
amazing. You go, girl.
yes, I am 41. But I love because your podcast, Jody, when you talked about living and feeling young, age is an energy.
Yes, it is.
And we laugh about this because even though I'm almost 12 years older than him, he's much older than me in so many ways. Like him being the way he looks at the world and the way he
Mm.
communicates. And for me, I do very much come from this jovial light, like, you know, this sense of like curiosity, like a baby. Like he's like, sometimes I'm like, why would you touch that? But he's like, you're just a curious little child sometimes. Like,
I
and
love
so
that though.
exactly, exactly. And so that's your reminder.
Yeah.
And I know you actually have a lot of moms who also listen on this podcast. And I'm going to share this with you from a lens of heart because as the oldest of 11, I'm constantly called mom in different ways.
Hmm.
And one day, my partner Tom, we were in Hawaii and we were about to go on this hike. And we went on a hike before and it was 9 miles. And I told him 9 miles is too long for me. So I didn't trust him on this one because I was like, is it 6? Because I'll do 6, but I'm not doing 9. And he was like, "You're acting like a little child right now. You're so upset. Like you're getting all flurried." And I remember laughing. And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, at least she didn't call me mom." Because
You
I
get
said,
to be
because
the
I'm
other end of
always
the
the
spectrum.
responsible one. Yes, I'm like, it would be so like, okay, let me be responsible and let me do all these things. And I just sort of, it's my reminder, and I say this to my mom. She's got all, I'm like, Mom, sometimes we can make it a little lighter. Sometimes we can make it a little messier. Like, it doesn't have
Yeah.
to always be just all buttoned up. And so I share that with you in case you're a mom on here thinking, oh goodness, like you get to also be playful and young because you can bring that energy forward for sure.
That balance, that balance. I'm sure for you, growing up the oldest of 11, there were a lot of times when you had to play the mom, even though you all had a mom.
Absolutely.
And so,
Just by
as
numbers. I
an
mean, we
adult,
outnumbered her by too many, poor thing.
I got to hand it to your mom. But now, as an adult, you get to be playful too. You
Yes.
get to have that balance in your personality, in who you are, and how you show up in the world. And I think that's
And invite that
awesome.
in. Yes. Always invite it.
Yeah. So, this is a great sort of reminder shift that someone could make to, honor the balance in their lives. Because for me, Think and Grow Young, my method that I teach in my coaching, that I speak about, that I wrote my book about, yes, it's biological in terms of getting the gut together, supercharging the immune system, but it's also very much energetic and
Yeah.
mind mastery. And there is this balance in the body that's critical to honor and address. And it's the same thing with everything all around us. There's something, excuse me, called the wheel of life, the circle of life. You're familiar with it.
Yes.
All like the pie, and each
Yes.
pie slice is a different aspect of one's life. And it is a great way to ascertain where you feel full and where you feel like your cup is not as full as you'd like it to be. And you can focus on to support that area more. So whether it's, um, food, home cooking, or love, or finances, or whatever it might be, joy. Um, it's great to kind of use as a barometer periodically. Do you
All the
have
time.
your
I
own
agree.
method that you do
Yeah.
something like that with?
And I love how you just called that out, Jody. There's synergy there.
Yeah.
When you're focusing on your health, you just mentioned your gut and probiotics and ensuring that that's healthy, you're going to see synergy that already brings you energy in other areas of your
Oh,
life
yes.
because your movement now, like in that circle, oh, movement's going to increase because you
Oh, yeah.
naturally want to work out and like do things. Oh, but that also got me interested in hobbies. Oh, that's so funny. Did you realize my communication skills are enhanced? Oh, that gets me the next bucket. So you see those.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything. It's that gut microbiome is the center of good and poor health.
Yeah.
And it's the power inside of there, and getting it right really knows no bounds.
Yeah.
Um, Depression, anxiety, all of that is all influenced by it. So I'm really glad that you sort of brought that connection out, because it is connected to everything.
It is connected to everything. And it's
Yeah.
how, if you feel that energy is woo woo, you can pull the science quickly.
Yes. Oh my God. All over
That's
the
all, that's how
place.
I felt. I'm like, I don't need to be a scientist for you right now in every single space that energy touches.
Yeah. Yes.
like whatever gets you excited, go for it. But the data's there.
Exactly. Your body will do the rest.
Yeah,
It
I'm like, I have
absolutely
the
will.
workforce stats, but you have the gut stats. You might have those stats. Like everyone's
Yeah.
got them. So
Yeah.
if you need them, pull them. But
But if you feel good, if you tap into passion, love, joy, what lights you up, your body will do the rest. That
absolutely. I mean,
makes a
Csikszentmihalyi
huge
wrote an entire
impact.
book on flow, just like about that
Mhm.
flow of what you're talking about. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So, is there one final thought that you would like to leave everyone with? Anything. I know we
Final
covered a lot of
thought
grounds,
today.
but
I know, no, I love that. The final thought today, I would say, is tune in. Check where you are
mm,
at energetically, right? Because we talked a lot about that sourcing from the gut and looking at the wheel of life. But before you can go external,
mm,
and we talked about that even with organizations, like why was the M&A good? Because we ask questions first, because we practice presence. Where are we? Ask questions of where you want to go, and then you can build the action plan. So today's takeaway, tune into where you are. Let that be step one.
yeah.
Because from there, you can decide where you want to go, and then you can start using these tools. But don't jump into the tools until you really know this is where I am. Let's be
Mm,
honest about that.
mm-hmm.
Because then you
Where,
can be honest about where you want to go. And it only might be a few inches. It only might be, a little step, but that little step will get you forward.
that's exactly right. And every little step brings you further and further along on your journey.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where can people find you to work
Yes,
with you, to get more information, all of that?
yeah, so Energetic Impact, as you shared,
Mm.
it's energetikimpact.com is my website, and my email is Rebecca@energetikimpact.com. Everything's on there. And then, of course, follow me on social if you want to kind of see what's going on, if test the waters, hear what this energy stuff's all about. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok. So check out any of those, and I'm constantly posting so you have up-to-date information on keynotes coming up that you might be able to see, or media presentations, or just getting a little tidbit to say, let me do an energy shift today.
I love that. And there will be information below this podcast episode with Rebecca's information to reach out to her. So thank you so much for being here today with me, Rebecca. It's been a wonderful conversation. And I hope people got to learn more about what energy is, what it means to you, how it can help them in their lives, in their professional lives as well, and be able to reach out if they want to know more.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. This
It
is
is
great.
my pleasure. And thank you all for listening to Think and Grow Young. If today's story inspired you, be sure to follow the show and share it with someone who needs a boost. Until next time, live boldly, lead with heart, and keep growing young.